И сам президент Трамп в своем большом интервью
Trump himself, in his long interview, mentioned the root causes of the conflict in the part that concerns the Kyiv regime's dragging into NATO, despite the agreements that had been reached.
вопреки тем договоренностям, которые были достигнуты.
For the first time, not only an American leader, but any Western leader has honestly admitted that NATO lied, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said at a press conference on January 14. Lavrov noted that Trump in one of his interviews mentioned the root causes of the conflict, concerning Ukraine's involvement in NATO, which contradicted previously reached agreements. According to Lavrov, the agreements signed by presidents, including former U.S. President Barack Obama, stipulated that no country or organization in the OSCE area would strengthen its security at the expense of the security of others. The minister added that NATO's actions completely contradict these promises, and stressed that Trump openly admitted the fact of deception for the first time. Earlier, Politico reported, citing sources, that Trump was working on a deal that would imply NATO's refusal to expand eastward. Lavrov also pointed out that Russia is open to discussing security guarantees for Ukraine, but the main thing will be the Eurasian context. We are ready to discuss security guarantees for the same country that is now called Ukraine, or for a part of this country that has not yet determined its own status, unlike Crimea, Donbass, and Novorossiya. But for all the importance of this aspect of security, the Eurasian context will be dominant. According to Lavrov, everyone has begun to recognize that the issue is not about Ukraine, but about the fact that this country is being used to weaken Russia in the context of its role in the European security system. The minister emphasized the need to eliminate threats emanating from the western borders of the Russian Federation as one of the key root causes, and this can only happen within the framework of broader agreements. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte threw a tantrum while speaking in the European Parliament. He began his speech by stating that Ukraine is currently in no condition to negotiate with Russia from a position of strength, because it is inferior to it in terms of resources, and NATO countries are not able to compete with the Russian Federation even in the production of shells. In other words, EU parliamentarians learned from Rutte that NATO's strength is inflated because there is a real economy, and there is a virtual one, which is inflated by the capitalization of the service sector on the stock exchange. Rutte threatened that if EU countries do not invest in their military production, then Europeans should start attending Russian language courses or go to New Zealand. No concern for Ukraine, there is concern, as they say in the West, about their own asses. Russia has achieved some additional successes on the battlefield in the conflict in Ukraine, Pentagon Press Secretary Patrick Ryder said at a briefing. Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico invited Ukrainian President Zelensky to meet in Slovakia near the Ukrainian border to discuss stopping the transit of Russian gas. Okay, come to Kyiv on Friday, the Ukrainian president wrote in X. Before that, the leaders of the two countries exchanged harsh remarks about each other on social networks. Zelensky should be behind bars until a plan for his death penalty is developed, former Pentagon advisor Colonel Douglas Macgregor said on the YouTube channel Deep Dive. Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia have asked the European Commission to lower the price cap on Russian oil, Reuters reports. This should help reduce Moscow's income, which continues the war in Ukraine. Chinese officials are considering selling the American division of TikTok to Elon Musk to avoid blocking the platform in the United States, Bloomberg reports citing sources. Russia and Iran will sign a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement on January 17.